بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله وحده والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعده وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تمسك بسنته إلى يوم الدين وسلم تسليما كثيرا أما بعد. As in the final lesson this night, where the time now is 9:18 p.m., Sunday, September 5th, 2021 of the Gregorian calendar, where it agrees with the correct calendar, which is the Islamic calendar. It's now the night of Monday, Yom al-Ithnain. As we know, according to Islam, the new day technically starts after Maghrib, with the time, or today is technically Yom al-Ithnain, Monday night, the 29th of Muharram, the year 1443, after the migration of our Prophet ﷺ. Yesterday we spoke about some of the signs of the hour, which is how time will start to pass by quickly. And we talked about that with a little detail, rather a lot of detail. We mentioned how those are from the signs of the hour, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will remove the barakah. He'll remove the blessing from the time. He'll remove the barakah from time. And people will not be able to capitalize on the good or the affairs that they used to previously, due to the time moving so quickly. And that is due to the consequences of the people. Because of their wickedness, Allah removed the barakah from time. So time moves so quickly, to the point where even certain affairs that I'm sure people have personally in their lives have experienced, that I was able to do such and such and so much an amount in a day, and now I can't. It seemed like it just moved so quickly. We talked about that, and then we said on the day when the Dajjal or the Antichrist will be released, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make the time different. You make it long, where a day will be like a year. And then a day will be like a month. That's still long. So those affairs in which you'll find that Allah Ta'ala, He is in control, subhanahu jalla fil ula. Rather, He is the time, subhanahu, and He conducts in that affair how He will, subhanahu. We also talked about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allowed the time to stop, as has happened to the Prophet Yusha' dhun Nun. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they say He stopped the time for him, in which the conquest of Yusha', no, dhun Nun, trust me. It's not Ibn Nun, it's dhun Nun. Check it. It's called Ibn Nun. There might be a khata, matba'i. It's Yusha' dhun Nun. Yusha'. It's Yusha'. It's not Yunus. It's Yusha'. Yusha' Ibn Nun. It's not Ibn Nun, it's Dhun Nun. We'll talk about it later, but that's not good manners. Actually, stop the person in the middle and try to correct. Yusha' Dhun Nun. You'll find that the Prophet Yusha' Dhun Nun, that brothers and sisters, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala stopped the time for him. He stopped the time for Yusha' Dhun Nun. So yeah, we say, Ya Ma'ashal Ikhwa, these are all the affairs in which you'll find that Allah Ta'ala, that He stopped the time, in which also He had also allowed the time to move quickly. And on the day of resurrection, you'll find, when the releasement of the Dajjal, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will allow the time to be long, in which you'll find that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam informed of those authentic narrations, establishing that the Dajjal will come and he will remain within the people 40, and that Allah Ta'ala will allow the people to be tested, where He will cover the earth in those days, even though they're considered to be very long. The other affairs that we wanted to speak about before we end off, talking about some of the good that will actually take place. I'm sure that everyone is familiar with all the corruption. Yeah, of course, before the day of resurrection is established. I'm sure that everyone is aware of all the pessimism or all the evil and corruption. But certain people might ask, what about the good Is there something good that will happen before the day of resurrection is established? Yes, we will. We'll speak about that in a minute. Before we mentioned that all those matters that are considered good, even though all of the different evils that we have elaborated, there is a lot of good that we'll explain. However, before we speak about that, we want to talk about affairs pertaining to knowledge. I'm sure that everyone knows that knowledge will be removed, that the Quran will be removed at the end of time, before the day of resurrection, before it commences. The revelation will be removed. The Quran will be removed, and its people. Everyone will be gone. Also from those affairs is how knowledge will be sought by or at the hands of what they call al-asaghir. Al-asaghir. That from the signs of the hour, yultamasa al-ilma 'inda al-asaghir. That knowledge will be sought at the hands of the asaghir, the younger scholars, the younger ones. A person, I'm sure that everyone is familiar with this mas'ala. However, I want to put it in proper perspective, because there is certain doubts out there that people have not explained properly this matter. The Prophet ﷺ had said about the signs of the hours that people will start seeking knowledge from the younger ones, or from the younger scholars who are younger in age or what have you. Like I said, I want everyone to listen attentively so we can put this in proper perspective and giving its proper meaning and clarifying it correctly. So, I just missed it. I'm sorry, everyone. My hand must have hit it. Now, so you'll find that on the authority of Abi Umama of Afwan, عن أبي أمية الجمحي رضي الله عنه, that it says, أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال إن من أشراط الساعة أن يلتمس العلم عند الأصاغر. That from the signs of the hours that knowledge will be sought at the hands of the asaghir, at the hands of the youth, or the younger scholars, or the youth, or something else. We'll talk about that in a minute. The meaning of asaghir. Linguistically, a person would think that it means someone who's saghir, someone who's young. That's what you would think. Yes, it is to a certain extent, no doubt. Just listen. We know the hadith of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu, where it says, لا يزال الناس بخير ما أتاهم العلم من قبل أصحاب محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وأكابرهم فإذا أتاهم من قبل أصاغرهم هلكوا. The narration that's been collected by Ibn Mubarak and Zuhd and Tabrani and other than them. And the narration is also authenticated by the great Imam al-Albani. Well, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, that he said that the people will never cease to be upon good as long as the knowledge comes from Qibali Ashabi Muhammad. That it came from the companions of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam wa akabirihim, and their seniors or their elderly. So just listen. فَإِذَا أَتَاهُمْ مِنْ قِبْلِ أَصَاغِرِهِمْ هَلَكُوا. If it comes from them, from the aspect of their asaghir, they will be destroyed. Fine. Quickly, because there's other things I wanted to cover quickly. The meaning of al-asaghir, as we know everyone, number one is ahl bid'ah. So that's from the signs of the hour. And we see that clearly. Everyone to see publicly and clearly through the internet how many people take knowledge from the people of innovation. Also, this hadith is a refutation against those who say Ahl Bid'ah doesn't exist anymore. Because you'll find that there are people out there that say, no, Ahl Bid'ah, they don't exist. They're all ignorant. Especially here in Philadelphia, there are people out there that put this doubt out there. They say all of them are ignorant. And those callers of Ahl Bid'ah, the affair of what's evil or what's detrimental to the Muslims is the people of disbelief, which is from the most ab'ad. وَمَنْ قَالَ ذَلِكَ فَقَدْ أَبْعَدَ النَّجْعَةِ. As we know that the person that says that, he's way off. The Prophet ﷺ established clearly that from the signs of the hours that the people will start seeking knowledge from who? The people of innovation. So the meaning of al-asaghir, the meaning of al-asaghir from the signs of the day of resurrection is that people will seek knowledge from asaghir, and from the meanings of it is the people of innovation, the people of bid'ah. So that's one meaning. Another meaning is those who are laysa lil-ilm ahlan min al-mutataffilin ala al-ilm. Those who are not from its people, meaning those who are ignorant. So one meaning is what, everyone? One meaning is the people of innovation, and another meaning is the people who are ignorant. That's the second meaning. That's the second meaning. The third meaning is also, and I'm going to mention the dalil for it. The third meaning is also those who are young. Yes, it is. Those who are young. Those who are young. But we're going to put it in perspective, because I know someone was going to say, what about Ibn Abbas? And what about Ibn Abbas, who was young and the knowledge was sought from him? What about that? What about that? We'll talk about that in a minute. The meaning of all these narrations, we're going to gather them together so we can all put it in proper perspective. So don't worry. At any rate, Qala Abu Ubayd, the first meaning, and I'll just keep it brief as much as I can. بلغني عن ابن المبارك أنه كان يذهب بالأصاغر إلى أهل البدع ولا يذهب إلى السن وهذا وجه. قال أبو عبيد والذي أرى أنا في الأصاغر أن يؤخذ العلم عمن كان بعد أصحاب النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ويقدم ذلك على رأي الصحابة وعلمهم. Abdullah ibn Mubarak, he used to go to the meaning of As-Saghir, that it means the people of innovation. And he said that it does not mean those who are of age, meaning they're not elderly. He said that's not the meaning. He said that's one point. That's what Abdullah ibn Mubarak said of a meaning. قال أبو عبيد والذي أرى أنا في الأصاغر أن يؤخذ العلم عمن كان بعد أصحاب النبي. Now listen to this. Abu Ubaid said that I see that As-Saghir is that the knowledge that it would be sought from those who are after companions of the Messenger of Allah. Now listen to this. And they are given precedence over the opinion of the companions and their knowledge. So taking the knowledge from As-Saghir is upon this meaning. Meaning that, now keep in perspective what he's saying. So he's saying that the companions are there, but you abandoned them and you went to what? Those who came after them. And you totally abandoned where the source of the knowledge came from. You understand? Is it clear what I'm saying so far? جيد. He said, وَلَا يَظْهَرْ كَبِيرْ اِخْتِلَاء بَيْنَ قَوْمٍ. So here, alhamdulillah, let me keep that right there, so I don't want to confuse anyone. طيب. روى اللالكائي, that says upon الحربي في معنى أثر بن مسعود معناه أنا الصغير إذا أخذ بقول رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم والصحابة والتابعين فهو كبير. He said that the meaning is صغير. He says, or the meaning of the Imam al-Lalaka'i, I'm sorry everyone, Al-Imam al-Lalaka'i rahimahullah, that he mentioned in his book شرح أصول اعتقاد أهل السنة, upon al-Harbi, that he said the meaning of the other that we just mentioned, of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, that he said the meaning of it, anna as-saghir, the word as-saghir, that if he accepts the statement of the companions of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the Sahaba and the Tabi'een, then he's considered Kabir. He is considered someone that's Kabir or from the Akabir. However, if he takes their statement from those that came after, and given precedence to the statements of the companions, given precedence to accepting the statements of those ulama that came later, even though their statements are in opposition to the statement of the Messenger of Allah, or in opposition against the Sahaba and the Tabi'een, then he's considered Saghir. Is it clear what I'm saying? Is it clear, everyone? I'll explain it later, inshallah, because we got a lot to cover. So, those are the meanings of what we're summing up right now. So let me read this statement of Khatib al-Baghdadi, because I wanted to keep it simple. This is a lot more details, but we're just going to keep it straight to the point. Al-Khatib al-Baghdadi, because a person might say, well, where's your statement in regards to people of age? Where's the people of age? Al-Khatib al-Baghdadi, rahimahullah, he said, he mentioned about the author of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, is Al-Khatib al-Baghdadi, that he mentioned his book called Al-Faqih wal-Mutafaqih. Al-Faqih wal-Mutafaqih. Al-Khatib al-Baghdadi said, معنى أثر ابن مسعود المتقدم قال ابن قتيبة الدينوري يريد لا يزال الناس بخير ما كان علماؤهم المشايخ ولم يكن علماؤهم الأحداث ولأن الشيخ قد زالت عنه ميعة الشباب وحدته وعجلته وسفهه واستصحب التجربة والخبرة فلا يدخل عليه في علمه الشبهة ولا يغلب عليها الهوى ولا يميل به الطمع ولا يستذله الشيطان استذلال الحدث ومع السن الوقار والجلالة والهيبة والحدث قد تدخل عليه هذه الأمور التي أمنت على الشيخ وأمنت على الشيخ فإذا دخلت عليه وأفتى هلك وأهلك. Al-Khatib al-Baghdadi said in his book called Al-Faqih wal-Mutafaqih, the meaning of the author of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, he said, Ibn Qutayba al-Daynuri mentioned that the people will never cease to be upon uprightness or goodness as long as the ulama are mashayikh, as long as the scholars are seniors and they are not young. وَلَمْ يَكُنْ عُلَمَاءُهُمْ الْأَحْدَثِ. Don't worry, I'm going to gather between everything. He said, why? Why did ulama al-Khatib al-Baghdadi mention this? Why? He said, because he said the rashness, or that rashness that usually is a tendency of someone young, and its intensity of being rash sometimes, hasty, and usually being tempted a lot by having his desires at that particular age, which are all affairs that usually is a reason for one being astray, or one falling into sin, or what have you. He said, and making poor decisions, because usually when you're young, usually in most cases you make a lot of poor decisions. Usually, if you're not reared correctly or cultivated correctly, usually around that age you tend to make a lot of dumb decisions, especially when you're young. So that's what Khatib al-Baghdadi is mentioned. He's saying here, he says, زَالَتْ عَنْهُ مَيْعَةُ الشَّبَابِ. مَيْعَةُ الشَّبَابِ, like the intensity of desires and those hasty, rash decisions, that rashness and that foolishness. He says, and plus when that age you still require experience. You require experience and not making hasty decisions to the end of it, right? And he said, in khibra, same thing. He now has attained experience. He said, for usually a person now, when they become older, usually they become settled in a lot of affairs. And he says, the ulama, especially for those who are upon uprightness for a long, extended period of times until they became elderly upon that, you'll find in most cases that they would never be able to be tempted by an ambiguity or a doubt. Usually stable upon the truth, usually due to all those different types of temptations and those things that causes it have been removed. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? So he's saying here, and he says in most cases, desires will not overtake him because now he's old. I'm 80 years old, 90 years old. Right now, a person at that age, what are they trying to do? They're trying to really get more money, get more women. Usually a person at 80, 90 years old, I'm just preparing to meet my Lord. Right? Usually, in most cases. 80 and 90 years old, I'm trying to just worship my Lord and prepare to meet. All right, alhamdulillah, I'm financially stable, I'm married, and my kids is grown. What is there left for me? Except just to worship my Lord, prepare to meeting with my Lord. Usually. Right, everyone? طيب, so what he's mentioned here, لا يستذله الشيطان استذلال الحدث. He said that the shaitan would not humiliate him, which is the humiliation of someone young. He said usually with elderly age is waqar. He says is sedateness, tranquility, and usually you'll find that they come in a stage with they're wise and now they display and attain that level of honor, nobility, and reverence that they gain as a result of aging gracefully. Right? وَالْحَدَثْ قَدْ تَدْخُلْ عَلَيْهِ هَذِهِ الْأُمُورِ. The youth, usually, they are the ones that now they are they possess this type of affairs or these type of matters that could be a reason for those type of matters that we just mentioned a couple of minutes ago. He said, for reason that we know all those different cases of desires and its intensity and lack of experience and the likes of what we said, usually if it enters upon someone young, he'll give a fatwa and he'll be destroyed, he'll destroy other people. He said, so for يُخَذُ الْعِلْمَ يُخَذُ عَنِ الْأَكَابِرِ وَقَدْ قَالَ عَلِي. He said, for usually, of course, he said that the knowledge is taken from the seniors. Right, so now, let's gather between everything. So, one meaning is what, everyone? The people of innovation. That's correct. Number two is the people who are ignorant. People who are lack knowledge. Like, so this is the issue is the third affair. Because a lot of people, they don't have the balance in the third statement that we just mentioned. They're not equally and they're not moderate. They either go from one extreme to the next extreme. What do I mean by that? If you go back to what I mentioned in the first lesson, the first part of the lesson, what did I say? The Sahaba were around. The Sahaba were around, but they preferred that they just suffice with those who were from the Tabi'een. Didn't deny that the Tabi'een were virtuous. But they abandoned the Sahaba, and you suffice with the Tabi'een, that's a major mistake. Even though there are people who are correct that you can take knowledge from. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? So they went into an extreme where those who they did receive the knowledge from, they abandoned them. Who are the Sahaba. And they just sufficed with those who came, after them. When it was incumbent upon them that they could They could gather between both. Taking the knowledge from the Tabi'een, and taking their knowledge from the Sahaba. However, those affairs that are very intricate, those knowledge that are very intricate, and those affairs that are major, and that affairs that really needs that experience and depth insight, that those matters go back to those that are before them, those who preceded, who are the Sahaba. That's the same thing that we do these days. So it's not now. Let's apply it now to these days. The ulama who are older are around. Sheikh Rabi' is still around. Hafidullah, Sheikh Salih Fawzan is around. Does that now prohibit or stop us from those seeking knowledge from those who are younger than them? No, it doesn't. You can benefit from them, but the extreme is considered where you now saying, well, Sheikh Salih Fawzan, he's old, why should I take knowledge from him? Sheikh Rabi' is old, khalas, so we got to take knowledge from him anymore. You understand? So now when you abandon the seniors and those who have experience and those who've had long years in all these matters that probably of certain affairs that they probably dealt with maybe 60 or 70 times. They can as soon as they see quack like a duck, they know it as soon as they see it. In contrast to the youth. Sometimes due to their rashness and their haughtiness and sometimes a little bit of arrogance. Thinking that they know, but in reality they don't. And then they slip, they make a mistake due to the fact that they're still in the process of gaining that experience. So now that's what I'm saying. We have to be moderate in the statement where we gather between both. Just because a person sees that there are people who are younger than the ulama by 30 or 40 or 50 years does not mean that you cannot take knowledge from them. However, we still hold on steadfast and strong to those who are elderly, especially during the times of the fitan and the trials that we're facing today. We return it back to them due to their experience, due to our respect for them, our reverence for them, and due to the fact that all the factors that Al-Khatib al-Baghdadi just mentioned have now been removed from them. Because like we said, at 80 and 90 years old, what does a person now need? I don't want any power. I'm just trying to worship Allah and die upon it. I don't want any power. I don't want any women. Financially, I'm good. What is there left for me? You understand, everyone? My kids are grown. I have a house to live. I get food every day. Alhamdulillah, I don't want no power. Who wants a headache of running the country or wanting power? Who wants that headache at 80 and 90 years old? Who wants all the problems and headaches from different nations and countries from all over the city at 80 and 90 years old? He's just like, listen, I'm older, I'm young, I'm good, I'm settled. What do I want from the dunya? What's left? Nothing. Right? So that's the reason why though in that particular age, all those factors are removed. So now, alhamdulillah, when we go back to them, we know that that answer is in its proper place. Due to the experience and due to all the factors that could lead to an incorrect answer have been removed. But at the same time, it does not now allow us to abandon those who are younger. Clear or not? Is it clear or is it not clear? JD. So I'm going to stop there. There's more details, but I gave y'all the khulasa. I gave you the summary. That's it. Fine. So those are from the signs of the hour. So now when you hear the word asahir, you know the meaning. You know the meaning of the word asahir. It can mean the people bid'ah, and it could be the people what? Ignorance. Or it could be the youth in certain cases where those intricate affairs are referred back to him, where ones leave off the what? The seniors or the elder from the ulama. Is it clear? Jayyid. So that is from those affairs that we wanted to mention. Now let's talk about the good matters. As a person, I'm sure that we were speaking about so many negative affairs. A person might say, is there any left for mankind? Is there any hope? Of course there's hope. There's always hope. As long as one person is in this dunya, and he's upon iman, and he's upon a correct belief, then it will all, within is binding upon us to always have what? Hope with our Lord. That's part of our worship, and that's part of our aqidah. We never are supposed to what? Resort to yets, or despair, or giving up, or hopelessness. All those are affairs of kufr, and it's misguidance. That's what we learn in our classes in Aqidah, right, everyone? So people be in a state of despair and hopelessness and those type of matters are from shaitan. And our belief, where we learn in Aqidah, is that we never give up, nor are we in a state where we render ourselves in a state of hopelessness. Because all of that is from shaitan. But despite of that, we want to mention some of the good things, even though they're from the signs of the hour. From them is where the Messenger of Allah alayhi salatu wasalam said authentic narration, Rawahu Ahmad. The Imam al-Albani also declared it to be Hasan in his Sahihah, where it says, عن ابن مسعود عبد الله بن مسعود بن غافر الهذلي أنه ذكر عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أن بين يدي الساعة تسليم الخاصة وفشو التجارة حتى تعين المرأة زوجها على التجارة وقطع الأرحام وشهادة الزور وكتمان شهادة الحق وظهور القلم. وليثار عبد الله بن مسعود رضي الله عنه that the Messenger of Allah عليه الصلاة والسلام said between the two hands of the hour, meaning when the hour is close. He said, Taslim al-Khassa. He said, well, the affairs are now will be given to small, minute people. Small, minute people. Meaning the affairs of the truth and those affairs pertaining to it will now be in some certain small amount of people. So just listen. From those affairs is the widespread of tijara, of business. Of business. So those are from the signs of the hour. He said to the point where it says in the hadith that a woman will aid her husband upon business. He says, حَتَّى تُعِينَ الْمَرْأَةُ زَوْجَهَا عَلَى التِّجَارَةِ. That's kind of like what we see today. He said to the point where a woman will aid her husband upon business, commerce, wealth, and things pertaining to what? Business. But there is some negative things that's mentioned in the hadith, such as the breaking down of family structure, which we see today. And America brags about it. That's why this whole country is falling apart. The breaking down of family structure, abandonment and mistreatment of children, to the end of it. And you'll find that American people brag about how they haven't spoke to they don't know their mothers, they don't know their fathers, they haven't talked to so-and-so. I haven't spoke to so-and-so 10, 20 years. Hey, 10, 20 years? What did they do that was so bad that you ain't not had to speak to them for 10, 20 years? And you'll find this from the smallest of affairs that could have been easily discussed if you gathered them together, listen to both sides. It could have been easily what? It could have been easily resolved. But just the mere fact that a lot of us were raised upon this arrogant country, instilling in us arrogance and belligerence, I don't got to talk to them. Who needs them? Keep it moving. That's how this place has become. And that's the reason why this whole land is falling apart. Because everyone has adopted that mentality. So, but that is from the signs of the hour. قطع الأرحام. People will what? They will cut off their kinship, their ties with their families. Breaking down the family structure. Also, the false testimony and the concealment of a true testimony. This is the last part where I'm going with it. Person will say, Ustaadh Abdur Razaaq, mentioned a lot of negativity here. What is the last part? Dhuhur al-qalam, the appearance of the pen. What did the Messenger of Allah ﷺ mean about it? The appearance of the pen. What did you say, Abdul Malik? Tafadal. No, tafadal. Good. عادي خلاص أجب تفضل. What do you think it means? Well, I'm asking you now. What do you think it means? Dhuhur al-qalam, the appearance of the pen. What does that mean? Just to sum it up, the appearance of secular knowledge. Because a person would say, what about knowledge? Didn't we mention in the signs of the hours from knowledge will be removed? That is pertaining to al-ilm al-shar'i. That's pertaining to the knowledge of Kitab and Sunnah will be removed. And its people and its scholars. However, the meaning of knowledge here is the knowledge of secular knowledge. What does that mean, secular knowledge? It means knowledge of the dunya. Pertaining to other aspects of the dunya and things of that nature. And so that the appearance of the dhuhur al-qalam, meaning that there will be people who will be doing a lot of writing. And a lot of books will be written. All you have to do is go to a library, even though now they're about to knock them down and get rid of all the books. But if you go to a library now, you see loads and loads of literature. And loads of people who have wrote books. Right or wrong? Loads and loads of literature. And so many different topics of secular knowledge. You see catalogs. You see people now writing catalogs and to the end of it. So those are the affairs that we're speaking about. So that says Fushu, and there's another narration where Ibn Abdul Barr, I'm sorry everyone. So that's one narration, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. Before I get to what Ibn Abdul Barr mentions, I'm going to mention these narrations. There's another narration of Amr ibn Taghlib, radiyallahu anhu, قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إن من أشراط الساعة أن يفيض المال. So this is something else positive, right? أن يفيض المال ويكثر. That's something positive. ويظهر القلم وتفشو التجارة. So these are positive things if they're utilized properly, right? That from the signs of the hour is that there will be a day where money will be in abundance. There'll be a lot of wealth. Money will be in abundance. يفيض المال. And it says in the narration, وَيَكْثُرْ. It will be a lot of it. وَيَكْثُرْ. It will be a lot of it. And the pen will appear. What does it mean, but the pen will appear? I already explained it. And he said there will be a lot of trade and businesses widespread. There'll be a lot of trade and businesses widespread. There's another narration that says from the signs of the hour, and يَكْثُرَ التُّجَّارِ. He said from the signs of the hour there will be numerous merchants and businessmen. يَكْثُرَ التُّجَّارِ. Tajir. A lot of merchants and businessmen will become plentiful. And the pen will appear. Ibn Abdul Barr, rahimahullah, he said about the word al-qalam, that the appearance of the pen, وَفُشُوَ al-qalam, and there's another narration that says the widespread of the pen. He said, فَإِنَّهُ أَرَادَ ظُهُورَ الْكِتَابِ وَكَثْرَةُ الْكُتَّابِ. He said, what he mean by it, what is intended by it, when he said the appearance of the pen is the manifestation of books and a lot of writers. And a lot of writers. Ibn al-Athir, he said in his Nihaya fi Gharib al-Hadith, he said, يعني أن يكثر الذين يكتبون. There'll be a lot of people who will be writing. There'll be a lot of writers. He said, فإن الكتابة كانت قليلة في العرب. He said, because writing, in regards to the Arab during the time of old, there used to be more people who used to what? Memorize. There were people who were memorizers. And that was little in the time of the Arab. He said, for verily this affair now has become what, everyone? Widespread. And it's from the signs of the hour. He said, due to the fact that now you see there are different types of methods, how things are copied, how things are printed, how they're being published. how they're being put out, and it's widespread. Isn't that the case, everyone? It's the case. You see it now. It's everywhere. He says how people now are taking they can now copy it. They could put it in, like we said, printing and publishing. You can even do it on computers now so quickly and fast. There's so many methods of now how to do it. Or the process now is extremely fast. How people can put out literature and books to the likes of that. Right, everyone? Fine. However, now listen to what it says. وَلَكِنْ قَلَّ الْقُرَّاء وَضَعْفَةَ الْهِمَمْ وَظَهَرَ الْجَهَلِ وَنَقْصُ الْعِلْمِ وَاللَّهُ الْمُسْتَعَانِ. He said, despite of this being the case where there's a lot of literature being written, and there's a lot of books out there, and there's a lot of different various types, he said, however, the readers are less. Al-Qurra, qal al-Qurra. The readers are less. And how many times, how do we see to the point where people can't even last 10 minutes without reading, without their attention span done? Within 10, 20 minutes, maybe the attention span is finished. Right, everyone? He says, for verily, those high, lofty ambitions have become what? Weak. And ignorance has now manifest. He says, you find that the himam, those lofty ambitions, are lost, even though there are plenty of people walking around running their mouth. And they're ignorant of people. Barely probably even finish the book at the hands of who? And you'll find that they're talking about the religion. Right, everyone? So these are the affairs that it's saying. So that is from the matters, because we know those books and literatures are good in certain ways, and they're bad in others, of course, depending on what's in it, what's the actual contents of that literature. But the point of the matter is that there will be people that will actually be put in for those beneficial books, doing a lot of writing that we do see from the aspect of what is correct and what is actually beneficial for the people in regards to teaching them and educating them in certain arts and certain sciences of affairs, of knowledge, and certain matters of education, of math. Those things are beneficial. And there's a lot of books in that regard. So it's something positive. But however, the people are not capitalizing upon those affairs because of the different elements that we just mentioned. But is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? So those are matters that are positive. So those affairs are positive of how you want to look at it. Is it clear, everyone? Right. What is another positive affair? A person might say, Abdur Razaaq. We just mentioned two. He said one day there will be a lot of businesses widespread. That's good, right? The aspect of something worldly. A person would say, okay, there's going to be one day there's going to be abundance of wealth. There's going to be a lot of people writing literature. There's also going to be, what's another affair? Another affair, there will return at a point in time after all the crisis and catastrophic matters that will take place of earthquakes and the likes of that. There will also come a day and time where that will stop. During the time of Isa ibn Maryam and the appearance of the Mahdi. And the appearance of the Mahdi. And I wanted to talk about that a little bit because I've heard that the rumor now is that the Mahdi has appeared somewhere in Afghanistan, which is absolute nonsense. The Mahdi has appeared now. Yeah. We'll talk about that in a minute, inshallah. But, so those affairs are positive. That when the Mahdi does appear, inshallah, which he will, because the affair of the Mahdi has reached the level of tawatur. It's to reach the level of tawatur. And certainly, the ulama even mentioned the emergence of the Mahdi being from the affairs of Aqidah in certain books. Why? Because there's so many narrations that indicates to his emergence or his appearance. So that's an affair that has to be what? Believed in, no doubt. However, who is he? Where is he emanate? The message of Allah gave us all those characteristics and all those details. So we can know and pinpoint who's the true Mahdi and who's the what? False one. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? He's not somebody that would emerge from Afghanistan. It's not going to come out. Rather, his khilafah will be established in Sham. So that's one key factor that we just gave and clarified to everyone. That he will be, his khilafah will be established where, everyone? In Sham. Where exactly in Sham? Does anyone know? In Quds, in Philistine. Quds. That's which is in Palestine. Palestine is considered what, everyone? Sham. It's considered Sham. Those affairs we'll talk about in a minute. But during that period of time, the point of what I was saying is, during that specific time, there will be a time of emin, of security and peace and justice. And there will be a lot of relaxation and enjoyment and wealth because the people will be upright. And we know that the Mahdi will appear at the point where who else will come? Jesus, the son of Mary, will also come. That will be at the same time, the same time frame where he will appear. So, if the Mahdi is coming out against Jesus, son of Mary, we'll talk about that in a minute. But those affairs during that period of the year is a year where, like we said, there will be a widespread of what? Security, peace, justice will be established in the lands. And to the point, they say that the people will be able to put their hands in their hand of a snake's mouth, and it won't bite them. Of a venomous, poisonous snake's mouth, and the snake will not bite them. It won't harm them. Yes, that narration says that. So that's to show how affairs will be positive, right, everyone? That's some affair that you now put your hand inside a venomous snake, unless you practice some magic these days. But if that's the case with something natural, of these days, if a person does it today, we consider it more than likely to be probably not practicing magic, unless you are a very person that knows how to raise a snake properly or whatever, how they really do it. But other than that, what is the natural process that in the last days and times, that due to the security and the good that will be in abundance, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will decree that the people will be experiencing all that type of comfort. So that's something positive. That's something what? Positive. Another thing that's positive, that in the last days, that there will be an abundance of where the believers' dreams will start to be true. And I wanted to talk about this. That their vision or their premonitions will start to become true. It'll happen a lot. However, we got to accept some details because we don't want people to now start relying on this like it's wahi. Because your people know people that go to the extreme in this until they start to rely on it and say, well, I see this in a dream that such and such is going to happen. La, that's wrong. You have to know how to apply this correctly. Because we don't want to fall into the Sufis of what they do, because they rely on premonitions. And they utilize it. They utilize it in order to say, in order to think that they have some type of prophethood or that they're better than a prophet. Because you know from the beliefs of the Sufiya is that they believe walaya is higher than nubuwah. They believe walaya is higher than nubuwah. From the extremists of the Sufis especially. They believe that a person being a wali or mawla is higher than prophethood. Yes. That's the reason why I ask Allah to destroy Sufiya. Wallahi, I ask Allah to erase it off the dunya. It's filthy. Filth. If you study it, you'll want to throw up. A lot of people don't see what I'm saying because they don't study their literature. You study their literature, you be like, what? This is stuff that even the Kufar Quraysh fell into. They took it to a whole other level. Especially from the extremists of the Sufis. But anyway, so those are the affairs that are positive. I don't want to go negative, right? Positive. Sidq ru'ya al-mu'min. That the end of times, sidq, how the visions or the premonitions of the mu'min will become true. So that's something positive. Something positive. So let's get the proper details. Let's get the proper details so no one misplaces. Oh, I just lost my page again. Sorry, everyone. Just give me a second. I just lost my page. I must have hit it again. أيوة. Here it is. طيب. Hadith of the Messenger of Allah صلى الله عليه وسلم من يثار Abu Hurairah رضي الله عنه was also been collected in Imam Ahmad in his Musnad. And others, and it's in Afwan. This particular word is for the Imam Ahmad. However, there is in the narration Bukhari, in which the Imam al-Bukhari put in Sahih, how the interpretation of dreams. He brings this narration. The narration is this: إذا اقتربت الزمان لم تكد رؤيا المسلم تكذب وأصدقهم رؤيا أصدقهم حديثا ورؤيا المسلم جزء من 46 جزءا من النبوة. When the authority Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, he said, إذا اقتربت الزمان, meaning the last days of this world, meaning that the hour is about to approach. So the signs of the hour, a lot of them have appeared in the last days of this world is about to what? Is about to happen. He said, when it's about to happen, لم تكاد رؤيا المسلم تكذب, that the premonition or the vision or the premonition of the Muslim will not lie. He said, لم تكاد رؤيا المسلم تكذب. وأصدقهم, however, the Messenger of Allah gave the condition. It's a condition for it. وأصدقهم رؤيا أصدقهم حديثا. The most truthful of them in their premonition is the most truthful of them in their speech. So that's the prerequisite. The most truthful of them in their speech. Is it clear, everyone? طيب. Individual, proper aqidah, proper methodology, and he's a veracious person, known for veracity and what? Truthfulness. Is it clear, everyone? طيب. He said, the vision of the Muslim, and we're going to get some benefit of why. Why is it like this? There's a tremendous benefit that I wanted to mention that we're going to bring, and everyone will be like, oh, wow. Why is that? Because the person was saying, in the last part of the hadith, the premonition of a Muslim is apart from the 46 parts of prophethood. Right, everyone? So it's a branch of what? It's a part, well, not a branch, but it's a part of what? Well, here it says Jews. Part of what? Of prophethood. We'll get into that in a moment. So isn't this something positive? It's something positive. So we mentioned some of the negativities. So we also want to keep a balance that there is some type of what? Positivity. Right? Because like I said, we listen to negativity all day. So we're now trying to keep the balance where we bring some type of what? Positive affairs. Right, everyone? So it says in another narration, إِذَا قَرَبَ الزَّمَانِ لَمْ تَكَدُ رُؤْيَا الْمُؤْمِنِ تَكْذِبْ, that when the hour draws close, that the premonition of the Muslim will not lie. Right? That narration has been authenticated by the Imam al-Albani. I'm trying to speed up a little bit because I know we don't got a lot of time. وفي رواية أخرى في آخر الزمان لا تكاد رؤيا المؤمن تكذب وأصدقهم رؤيا أصدقهم حديثا. So the Messenger of Allah said, in the last days and time, you'll find that the mu'min, the premonition of a Muslim, or the mu'min, is not about the lie. It's not about the lie. Now listen, it says that these affairs are from the mubashirat, that the Messenger of Allah said that these affairs, what we're mentioning now, that is the condition. The condition that will be the part of glad tidings for the people of Iman. Glad tidings for them. He said, especially when the hour draws close. And especially when the knowledge of Kitab and Sunnah will be removed. And especially when the ma'alim of Islam, like those traits that stand out from the religion and its parts, meaning of knowledge and the likes of it, all now starts to what? Dwindle away and fade away. And now the affair of ghurba, of estrangement, where people be strangers, meaning righteous people, of course, between those who are corrupt, now will be deemed to be what? Strange individuals. Right? So when those affairs now have gone, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will now compensate them. Because those are all things that could make a person what? Give up. Because there's so much corruption, so much negativity. There's no prophet around. There's no messenger. The knowledge is being raised, was taken away. All the different affairs of Islam have now been removed, is faded away. The person probably in that state will think like, what do we do? It says here in this particular narration, the reason for that is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will now make this as an affair to give them relief. So that's the reason why it'll be a form of what? Glad tidings for them. So listen. قال ابن البطال, that he said about this narration, he says, معناه والله أعلم إذا اقتربت الساعة وقبض أكثر العلم I'll just read it in English. If the hour draws close and the majority of knowledge now has been removed, and all the ma'anim ad-diyana, the stand word or the affairs that make the religion stand out, how now has been removed or starting to fade away immensely. And he said, due to a lot of corruption and due to a lot of atrocities that are taking place, or due to killing, or various types of corruption that there are. Now listen to this part. Listen to what Ibn Battal says. Listen attentively to this part. He says, فَكَانَ النَّاسَ عَلَى فَطْرَةٍ مِنَ الرُّسُلِ. He said, for these days and times on earth, when all these things are happening, all these calamities, all these different types of calamities, which are the greatest form of calamities. People are corrupt, people are wicked, and the people of knowledge are now gone. All the different standout qualities about the religion is now dwindling and fading away. The religion, there's a lot of killing, there's a lot of atrocities, a lot of trials and tribulation. He says, it's as if the people now are upon, he's comparing it to the time where there was a long period of time where there was no prophets and messengers, right? We know in knowledge that's called the what, everyone? Fatra. Fatra min al-rusul. The period of time where there's no messengers and prophets, right? That period, such as, for example, from Jesus the son of Mary all the way up to the last and final prophet was what? Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That period of time in between them was called what, everyone? Fatra. Fatra. Right? Fatra min al-rusul. Like it was a long period of time there was not a messenger or prophet, right? Meaning physically there to inform them of the wahi or what have you. So you'll find that he's saying the last days and times will kind of be like that. He gave it like a similarity, like a resemblance. Rather, it will be worse, kind of. So listen what he says. He said, for that reason, they'll need someone to remind them. He said, يحتاجون إلى مذكر ومجدد لما درس من الدين كما كانت الأمم قبلنا تذكر بالنبوة فلما كان نبينا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم خاتم الرسل وما بعده من الزمان ما يشبه الفترة عوضوا مما منع من النبوة بعده بالرؤيا الصادقة الله أكبر التي هي جزء من 46 جزءا من النبوة الآتية بالتبشير والإنذار. Good, that's a tremendous benefit. Tremendous benefit. He said, when the days and times of the last days on earth, he said, now all these affairs, these great atrocities are taking place and great calamities. He said they will need someone to remind them and to revive for them of what is now faded away of the religion. Lima dudi samin ad-din, what is now faded away or become extremely weak of the religion. He says, just as the Ummah before us, they used to be reminded of prophethood. And he said, due to the fact that our prophet, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is the seal of our prophets. He said, for the time that comes after him, alayhi salatu wasalam, he said, it's similar to the time of the fatrah that we just mentioned. He said, it resembles that. We don't actually see the Messenger of Allah, alayhi salatu wasalam. He's not around us, alayhi salatu wasalam. But we still need someone to come and remind us or to revive the religion so the people can hold on to what is what? Correct in some type of way. Right, everyone? So he said that resembles that period of time. He said, as a result of this type of extreme adversity, right? They will be compensated. They will be compensated of what has been removed of Nubuwah after Allah removed it and closed its door by leaving one thing of or one part of it, which is that true premonition, which is from the 46 parts of prophethood, which is considered of what, everyone? Of glad tidings and warnings. So it's like what basically to give them what? Some type of relief. Because I know people probably was talking about dreams and why would it be at this particular time and why is it 46 parts? They say this is the wisdom behind it. Especially during these adverse times and trying times when it's extremely difficult, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will use that in order to give them what? Comfort. Even though things that are going on around them are very what? Difficult. Is it clear or is it not clear? It's clear? جيد. فالرؤيا فيها بشارة والتثبيت عند الفتن. فعن أبي هريرة قال سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول لم يبق من النبوة إلا المبشرات قالوا وما المبشرات قالوا الرؤيا الصالحة. He said on the authority of Abu Hurairah, قال, I heard from the Messenger of Allah صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول, he said, nothing remains of prophethood except mubashirat, the giving or those dreams that give glad tidings. He said, what is mubashirat, the Messenger of Allah? He said that true or righteous premonition. Zad Malik, Imam Malik put his muwatta. He said, الرؤيا الصالحة يراها الرجل الصالح. That's the condition. أو ترى له. He said that the righteous premonition or the righteous vision or premonition, he says that the one who sees it is a righteous man. So it's not a wretched man, a righteous man. Proper aqidah, proper methodology, righteous individual, truthful in his speech. He said, or it's shown to him. O tura lahu. Or it's shown to him. What do you mean shown to him? Is it kesh like the Sufiya? No, it's not kesh. It's what everyone. It's a true dream in which will be given to him while he's asleep. Is it clear, everyone? So Ibn Abdul Barr said another benefit about this narration. Ibn Abdul Barr, rahimahullah, he put in Tamheed. He said about this, وَجُمْلَةَ الْقَوْلِ أَنَّ الرُّؤْيَا الصَّادِقَةَ مِنَ اللَّهِ وَأَنَّهَا مِنَ النُّبُوَّةِ وأن التصديق بها حق وفيها من بديع حكمة الله ولطفه ما يزيد المؤمن في إيمانه. From the general statement is that the true vision or true premonition is from Allah. It is from prophethood. It's from its parts. However, he said, in that a person, of course, the belief in it, we do believe it to be true. To be true as far as that it can be in a person's dream, not the aspect that the dream, of course, could be utilized as wahi. He said, in it is from what is the amazing wisdom of Allah, and that gentleness or security that He gives to the mu'min to increase him in his iman. So the Messenger of Allah said that this will take place when the hour will draw close. That it will happen when the hour will draw close. I also wanted to talk about affairs that maybe people might deem to be positive, but it depends on how you look at it. Even though I look at the deem it to be absolute positive, is that there will be signs from the hour where inanimate objects will start to speak. And animals. Yes, there's narrations that are authentic. Yes, it is. That inanimate objects will start to speak. A person will say, meaning about inanimate objects, such as rocks and things of that nature. And there's narrations talking about how animals will start to speak. Animals. And I'll talk about that if we have time, which I doubt. But maybe we'll give it in the khutbah next week. But there are narrations that speak about that. So I give you guys a little. So those affairs that inanimate objects will start to speak and animals will start to speak. Those are also from the signs of their resurrection. And do you think that to be a bad thing, or is that a good thing? That's why I said what I said, right? It's a good thing. Some people probably see an animal, thought they'd be like, oh, maybe I gotta check into a crazy house, huh? So those matters, ya ma'ashar al-ikhwa, are from the fears that will appear in the last day of resurrection. However, what I wanted to do before I end this, before I close this particular topic out, I wanted to bring some narrations to show that it's not permissible to utilize this as revelation or to predict affairs. They're only as what? They're only is to give glad tidings, to give you what? Ease, and inshallah is utilized just to give you some relaxation. Not for you to utilize it as a dalil for anything. Not for you to utilize it as an evidence for anything. Saying, well, I seen in the dream this and this, so that means that you must have did no. You understand, everyone? Why? Because I'm going to bring the narration saying that that's not how you can utilize premonitions in this way. It's not permissible. And I'm going to bring a couple of narrations that will suffice with that, because there's a lot of evidence, there's a lot of proof for that. Where you'll find that people try to utilize this, and they try to say that, oh, I'm going to get my sword and do this because I saw in the dream this, and you'll find that they were highly condemned for those type of affairs. However, from the benefits, before we end off, they say that in regards to the dream, or what is true, it says that is the reward for those who are truthful people. For them who are truthful in their speech. Truthful individuals. So not liars, truthful people. He said, وَذَلِكَ أَنَّ مَنْ كَثُرَ صِدْقُهُ تَنَوَّرَ قَلْبُهُ وَالتَّقْوَى إِدْرَاكُهُ فانتقشت فيه المعاني على وجه الصحة والاستقامة. وأيضا فإن من كان غالب حاله الصدق في يقظته استصحب ذلك في نومه. الله أكبر. فلا يرى إلا صدقا، وعكس ذلك الكاذب والمخلط يفسد قلبه ويظلم، فلا يرى إلا تخليطا وإضغاثا. هذا غالب حال كل واحد من الفريقين. وقد ينظر فيرى الصادق ما لا يصح of course، ويرى الكاذب ما يصح، ولكن ذلك قليل ولا حكم للنادر كما يقال. He said, from what we say, that a person who's very truthful, his heart will be radiant. It'll be alive with light. A person who's very truthful. Everybody coming sleepy? We'll be soon in position. Stop the class, right? Like, who's known to be truthful. If it becomes in abundance, then his heart will become light, or radiant with light. تنور قلبه, will become radiant with light. وَتَقْوَى إِدْرَاكُهُ, and his insight of affairs will be strong. His insight of affairs will be strong. Taqwa or taqwa idraku or tuqawi idraka. Afwan. There's realization and acknowledgement and understanding of affairs will be strong. فانتقشت فيه المعاني على وجه الصحة والاستقامة. He said, of course, the meanings, of course, now will be given success in regards to what would be now wajh as-sihha, in a manner that is correct, in a manner that's upright. Will be given tawfiq in certain matters, and insight in certain affairs. And that's the reward of being truthful. The reward of being truthful will be given that type of what? That type of reward. So how many people are truthful? They have great insight. And people who are liars, usually Allah misguides them in their decisions. You understand, everyone? طيب. So it goes on to say, وَأَيْضًا فَإِنَّ مَنْ كَانَ غَالِبَ حَالِ الصِّدْقِ. He says, for verily also, who's usually in most cases, who are there in most cases, rather than a lot of different cases, in a lot of cases, if not majority cases, he said, al-ghalib ala hali as-sidq, especially when he's awake, it will also carry on with that in his sleep. Istashaba dhalika fi nawmihi. So he will not see except what is true. He says, and the opposite of that is a liar. And a person who's corrupt. Because he's now rendered his heart to be what? Corrupt. And has become black, has some blackness in it. He said, usually in most cases now, you only see affairs that are mixed up in miscellaneous dreams, what they call adghath ahlam. Mixed up dreams in most cases. He said, that is the ghalib hal kulli wahid min al-fariqayn. He said, of course, this is the majority in most cases of both of those people that we just explained their condition. He said, but however, it is rare, no doubt, that the person who is truthful could see something that's also what? Miscellaneous dreams and which is not correct. Or it could be an evil dream from shaitan. That happens to every what? Righteous person. And he said, similar to that, a liar might see something that's also what? Correct. That could happen. He said, but however, that's rare. That's rare. That's really rare. But we know that the most cases is what we just said initially. Is it clear, everyone? Is it clear? Is it not clear? Right. What we want to now is mention some of the narrations of how the ulama condemned that premonitions are not supposed to be used as an evidence for anything. It's not supposed to be used as an evidence, or to say, or prediction, or a means of reaction. Because of certain marital affairs. Well, I've seen the dream, you did such and such, and you punched some. Why you hit me? Oh, the dream said you did this. No. You understand? Well, my dream was true. I know what you did because you can't use that. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Right now, Al-Imam Al-Marwazi, the great Imam, Abu Bakr Al-Marwazi, the great Imam. And we know Imam Al-Marwazi was from the great companions of who, everyone? Anybody know? Imam Al-Marwazi, Abu Bakr Al-Marwazi, the great Imam. من أجل أصحاب الإمام أحمد. من أجل أصحاب الإمام أحمد. Yes. Let's get into that. طيب. الإمام المروزي أدخلت إبراهيم الحصري على أبي عبد الله. Now this is the next narration. إبراهيم الحصري على أبي عبد الله. أبي عبد الله is who? أحسنت. كان رجلا صالحا فقال إن أمي رأت لك مناما. He said, verily my mother seen for you a dream. It was such and such. And she mentioned paradise. He said, يا أخي, listen to this. إن سهل ابن السلامة كان الناس يخبرونه بمثل هذا وخرج إلى سفك الدماء وقال الرؤيا تسر المؤمن لا تغره. He said, verily, no. He said, oh my brother, Sahl ibn Salama, the people used to say the exact same thing to him, that they seen a dream about him and how he would go to paradise to the end of it. Right? He said, you know what he ended up doing? You know what he ended up doing? Went out to the people, started shedding and killing them, shedding their blood. He said, a premonition brings happiness to the believer. It does not render him amazed at himself. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? So what's the reason? What's the reason why he mentioned this? What was the reason? So no one lose the point. Why was he mentioning this? That what, everyone? That premonition or dream is not to be what? It's not to be acted upon. It's not to be used as dalil or wahi or anything of that nature. Is it clear what I'm going with, everyone? No. So those affairs, it's not to be utilized also that someone else had a dream about you, and then they say it, and then they come to you, and as a result of it, you start to become self-amazed at yourself. So he said here, a mu'min is to bring happiness to him, not to what? Not to make him conceited about himself. Doesn't make him foolish or conceited. La taghurruhu. Doesn't make him maghrur. Doesn't make him conceited or fooled and amazed of himself. So that's a clear evidence to show what everyone that these type of affairs should not be utilized as what? Evidence is proof. So I don't want everyone to leave out of here and they start using dreams and utilizing it to try to conduct in their affairs of their life for certain things. So I want that to be clear. Because that's something I had to bring so no one would start running around like Sufis. Is it clear, everyone? Jayid. So that's what I wanted to talk about. Tayyib. Those are from the affairs that are positive. Oh, wow. I didn't even realize the time. I realized the time. Those are from the affairs which are positive. So we wanted to keep a proper balance about this matter. So we mentioned about Dhuhur al-Qalam, the appearance of the pen and the meaning of it, and widespread, of course, of abundance of money, and there will be a time or a period of time where security will come back to the land or to a specific land for a specific people only, who are the people of Iman, and those who are upon Tawheed at that particular time, which is in Sham, when the Khilafah, where the Mahdi will be released. Where the Mahdi will be released. That's what I wanted to speak about a little bit. I wanted to speak about the Mahdi because I kept getting people telling me, saying how the Mahdi will, how he will emerge from Afghanistan or something to that effect, which is absolutely incorrect, or somewhere in India or somewhere to that matter, due to all the different things that are taking place in Afghanistan right now. So, which brings the opportunity perfectly to speak about the affair of the Mahdi a little bit. Then after that, we'll close it out, because I don't want to speak about it too long, because the affair of the Mahdi is a little bit, has some details in it. But I wanted to mention that due to the fact that we said it is something that is positive, because the Khuruj al-Mahdi is something positive for the believers and for the people, especially the people of Iman when he comes. But those affairs of the Mahdi, and like I said, this is a little bit we'll speak about, and after that we'll close out, because there's a lot of details in it. So from the signs of the hour is what, everyone? From the signs of the hour is what? Khuruj al-Mahdi. I want this to give everyone to make it clear. Khuruj al-Mahdi wa nuzul al-Khilafa bisham. Bisham. The releasement of the Mahdi wa nuzul al-Khilafa bisham. The releasement of the Mahdi and his Khilafah, successorship, him being the successor or ruler, will be established where, everyone? Make it clear. Sham. Bisham. The great Imam al-Albani, rahimahullah, he has a good bahth, a lot of the research on all the weak hadith that are used in this matter that people rely upon, which I don't have time to read. If we have some more time, I would bring some of the narrations that a lot of people use about the black flag and things of that nature. Certain narrations that they utilize, and he grades all of them to be what? Da'if. Except certain narrations. But I wanted some time, but we don't have the time because it's getting late. But at any rate, just to bring some of what the great Imam that he mentioned, some of the authentic narrations. Let's read it quickly. On the authority of Hudayfa radiallahu anhu, قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم تكون النبوة فيكم ما شاء الله أن تكون ثم يرفعها إذا شاء يرفعها ثم تكون خلافة على منهاج النبوة فتكون ما شاء الله أن تكون ثم يرفعها إذا شاء الله أن يرفعها ثم تكون ملكا عاضا فيكون ما شاء الله أن يكون ثم يرفعها إذا شاء أن يرفعها ثم تكون ملكا جبريا فتكون ما شاء الله أن تكون ثم يرفعها إذا شاء يرفعها ثم تكون خلافة على منهاج النبوة ثم سكت. طيب, says in the narration that تكون النبوة, that prophethood will be amongst yourselves. As long as Allah wills that it will be, then Allah will take it away, will raise it. To the point, if Allah wills, when He will raise it, He will raise it. Then Khilafah will be upon Minhaj al-Nubuwah until Allah wills, and then Allah will take it away and raise it. Until, it says in the narration, of course, to the end of time, Khilafah will be established upon Minhaj al-Nubuwah. Then the message of Allah remains silent. So another quality is to show what, everyone? That the Mahdi is from where? He's from the lineage of who? I heard different. I heard certain people say Fatima, and certain people say it's from the lineage of the Prophet ﷺ. Or is it all correct? Huh? All of it is correct. So it's to clearly establish that the Mahdi is what? From the children of Fatima radiallahu anha, and he's also from the family and the lineage of the Messenger of Allah alayhi salatu wasalam. Right, everyone? So he's not from Afghanistan where he speaks, what is it? They either speak, what they call Pashtu. They speak Pashtu or they speak Farsi. They speak Pashtu or Farsi, depending on what side of the country you come from. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? So he doesn't speak Pashtu or Farsi. Because we know Afghanistan, like we said, alhamdulillah, is close to Iran. It's not that far. Some of the borders close to Iran. Any rate, so Khilafah of the Mahdi is what, everyone? The Khilafah of the Mahdi is from the lineage of who? Ahsant. So we just gave another what? We just gave another characteristic. طيب. Being that the case, so that we say that it's upon minhaj, it's upon the methodology of prophethood. And that will be in the last days and times. So the Khilafah of the Mahdi, and we said that will also be close to the time where what, everyone? The Isa ibn Maryam will appear. It'll be at the same time frame where Jesus, the son of Mary, will come back. Where he'll descend with two angels. Where, everyone, will he descend? Does anyone know? Where in Sham? In Damascus. Where? Bab al-Lud, huh? Bayt al-Maqdis? Bab al-Lud. Ahsant. Bab al-Lud is he where the, huh? What minaret where though? East of the Masjid?
East of the Masjid.
I'm thinking you said the Masjid. The east of Damascus, in Damascus. Right, everyone? طيب. Isa ibn Maryam, when he descends in the Mahdi, of course, that's when there will be a time of what? Relaxation. Justice, and everything will be ease. Be comfortable and at ease. And that will be the last Khalifa, Yakun Akhir Khalifa Qurashi. That will be the last of what was the Khalifa or the Khilafah from the what? Quraysh. So it's clearly establishing that what? The Khilafah was in the family of the Messenger of Allah, alayhi salatu wassalam. فيكون Isa ibn Maryam, of course, amongst the Ummah of Muhammad alayhi salatu wassalam, and those who have followed them. We know at the last days and times, also the Arab will become less. They will be killed. A lot of them will be killed. A lot of the Arab will be killed. And they will be Qadiyah, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in that day and time, they will be little. And he said that the majority of the people in that days also will be the people of Rome. Rome will be, until there's another narration that says, لا تقوم الساعة حتى يكون أكثر الناس من الروم. He said that the hour will not be established until the majority of the people on the earth will be from Rome. So Rome again will rise to what? They'll rise to power again. They'll rise to power and have an empire again. And they would be the majority of people of the earth. Or the majority of people of the earth from those who are upon kufr. They will be left. And if you go back to Sahih Muslim in Kitab al-Fitan, the Imam Muslim brings that the Messenger of Allah not only said that they would be the majority, he even gives the reasons why. That's to let you know how complete our religion is. He even goes to the reasons of Messenger of Allah himself, alayhi salatu wasalam, mentioned reasons of why Allah allowed them to be remaining on the earth and why they would be the majority of the people of the earth in that days and times. From them, the Messenger of Allah said that Rome will be the majority of people. He said because their rulers are just. He said they treat their people good. So that would be a reason of why Allah allowed them to remain. Not giving praise to them even though they're upon kufr. Is it clear to say, everyone? So he said that will be, he said their rulers are just. Which is to let you know that being unjust is what? A reason for your decimation, for you going away and being destroyed. But it also mentioned he said that they also are good to their impoverished. They're good to their poor. The Messenger of Allah mentioned that. At any rate, that's just a side benefit. Going back to the topic at hand, the majority of people of those days will be Rome. That is right before or the affairs of when the Malhama or the major battle will take place between Rome and the Muslims. And that's another topic for another day. But at any rate, going back to the affair of the Mahdi, it will be around the same time as Isa ibn Maryam. That will be a time in which, like we said, will be a time of comfort and of rightness and relaxation. And Isa ibn Maryam will clarify the truth. He'll come and he will break and destroy and decimate the cross. He will destroy it. And he will clarify that he never what? He never called to its worship, nor did he even die upon it. But he will also slaughter the pig meat, because we know a lot of Christians, they love that. Especially these days, they love pig meat. And they brag about it. And they'll even make mockery of you if you don't like it, right? So even Isa ibn Maryam, he will even clarify that this was an affair that was totally what? Filthy. وَيَذْبَحُ الْخِنْزِيرِ. And he will raise and take away the jizya, and it will not be accepted, because the only thing that will be accepted at that particular point is what? Is Islam. However, this is what it goes on to say, وَيَتْرُكَ الصَّدَقَةِ فَلَا يُسْعَى عَلَى شَاء وَلَا بَعِيرٍ وَتُرْفَعُ الشَّحْنَةِ. Basically to the point where sadaqah will be left off, because there will be a lot of what? There will be a lot of wealth. It says to the point وَلَا يُسْعَى, where a person will not have to slaughter a shah nor ba'ir. He says, and hatred and animosity will be raised. And hatred. Now listen to this part. وَتُنْزَعُ حُمَّةُ كُلِّ ذَا حُمَّةٍ. He says, for every sting or venomous poisonous bite or sting or anything that causes it will be removed. It says to the point, يُدْخِلَ الْوَلِيدِ يَدَهُ فِي الْحَيَّةِ فَلَا تَضُرُّهُ. To the point where the child or walid or young youth will ever stick his hand in the mouth of a poisonous snake and it won't harm him. وَتَفِرُّ الْوَلِيدَ الْأَسَدِ. And nor will a female child will have to flee away from a lion either. فَلَا يَضُرُّهَا. Won't harm her. وَيَكُونَ الذِّئْبُ فِي الْغَنَمِ. And the wolf will be amongst the sheep. كَأَنَّهُ كَلْبُهَا وَتَمْلَأُ الْأَرْضِ. He says to the point where the wolf will be amongst the sheep as if he is the dog, meaning the one protecting them. Because, you understand everyone? كَأَنَّهُ كَلْبُهَا. Why does it say as if he's a dog? Because the dog usually are utilized for what? Only for what, everyone? For protection. For protection. So, as if the wolf, instead of being the hunter, he will be the what? Protector. To let you know of the good that will what? Be at that particular time. وَتَمْلَأُ الْأَرْضِ مِنَ السِّلْمِ كَمَا يُمْلَأُ الْإِنَاءِ مِنَ الْمَاءِ. So basically he's talking about all the good. And no one will be able to worship, no one will be worshipped except Allah. And then wars will stop. وَتُسْلَبُ قُرَيْشْ مُلْكَهَا. That's when Quraysh, the finality of, or the conclusion of the Khilafah will be done. Because now the day of resurrection is about to draw close, right after those particular years, right everyone? طيب. So that's just to show of the different benefits of that. طيب. In regards to the Mahdi, another thing we're going to mention, I'm going to mention this and we'll close out here because it's starting to get to 11 o'clock and Brother Abdur Razaaq is getting 11. Well, Mahdi, he is Muhammad ibn Abdullah. Muhammad ibn Abdullah, excuse me. Muhammad ibn Abdullah Al-Alawi Al-Fatimi Al-Hasani. Al-Hasani. And he's from the children of who? Fatima. Ahsan. And he's going to be from the lineage of who? Hassan or Hussein? Hassan or Hussein? Hassan. Ahsan. Why though? Quick benefit. Does anyone know why? I want to see who. Tfaddal. No, go. Tfaddal. I want to see if you.
Because Khilafah will return back to his lineage. Something like that.
He came to the case second. Tfaddal. Tfaddal.
He stepped down from the Khilafah.
Ahsant. What happened? What was so stand out about Hassan radiallahu anhu? As anyone know in history, what did he do that was so magnificent? Radiallahu anhu. That he stepped down from what? He stepped down from Khilafah in the early times to save conflict, even though he was right. Even though he was muhiq, he was right. He was in the right. He wasn't in the wrong at all. But to save conflict and bloodshed and maintain solidarity amongst the society, he stepped down. Right, everyone? They say Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, due to that great duty, that great magnificent thing he did, Allah gave him a reward at the last days in time. That the khilafah of what will be the great khilafah before the day of resurrection will be established through his lineage because of that great deed he did. Is it clear? So that's to give the key of what? To give the key that's also to give you another affair, whatever you want, that the Mahdi is from who? From the from the children of who, everyone? Hassan, radiallahu anhu. From Hassan. Now is it clear? Isn't that clear? طيب. So he's from the family of the Prophet ﷺ and his lineage, and he's from the children of Fatima, which is all correct. In which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will aid the religion by him, meaning by the Mahdi. طيب. And all the different types of barakat that will descend from the heavens. I wanted to read what Ibn Kathir mentioned Bidayah wa Nihayah. It's a lot of information, but I'm trying to keep it summarized, but we'll suffice with this because it's getting close to 11 o'clock. So a lot of information in regards to this. We can go on and on, but we wanted to just mention just a little glimpse so everyone can know to be on guard of all the different rumors out there that says the Mahdi has came. It's absolute, our brothers and sisters, that's absolute nonsense. The Mahdi has not come yet. And if he was established, it would be where? It would be in Sham. It would be where Palestine is today. And he's from the lineage of the Messenger of Allah. So all these people that are coming out who are claiming to be the Mahdi, and they're from different nationalities, and they're from some weird lineages to the end of it, and they also rely upon some weak ahadith that the great Imam al-Albani has a good, excellent, monumental work in regards to those narrations that are utilized in these days that people use to say that the Mahdi is this individual with these type of characteristics, which is all nonsense. If I had some more time, I would talk about it, but we'll suffice due to the fact that time's getting late. So those affairs, what was a benefit to show from the signs of the hour, we wanted to establish these lessons. And I apologize everyone for coming late after Isha. I didn't look at the schedule. So I'm thinking at the time, my time was after Isha. So everyone told me after, so you're supposed to be here before Maghrib. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. So I apologize everyone. But that was the last thing to close out. Alhamdulillah, I hope that it was very beneficial for the Dawrah. And inshallah, we'll continue to mention some of these signs throughout the different lessons and different khutab, maybe for next week. What did we say we might talk about? The speaking of what? Animals and jamadat. Jamadat means like an inanimate object that you wouldn't think would be able to what? Speak, but it will speak. A person would say that could be absolutely. During the time of the Messenger of Allah, it happened. The Messenger of Allah, during his time, things where inanimate objects were speaking. The person would say, how? The Messenger of Allah, a rock used to give him salams. A rock. He used to pass by a rock, used to give him salams. A rock. When do we know a rock to talk? A rock used to give him salams. Also, during the time of the Messenger of Allah, the ta'am, the food in his hands used to make tasbih. It comes in so many narrations. They said this happened on more than one occasion. When the Messenger of Allah was eating food, we used to hear Abu Bakr and Umar, so we used to hear the tasbih, the ta'am, the glorification of the food. Who know food to make tasbih? This is like inanimate objects, speaking, food, talking, rocks. And there's other narrations. Right. So those are the affairs of what we're mentioning, and we'll stop here inshallah. Any questions about the lesson? Tafadal. I forgot your name. I apologize. Abdur Rahman. Tafadal.
Just a question. We had a hadith when someone said, since my son and the son of the Khalifa Rashidin, would the Mahdi be considered?
No, the Prophet ﷺ made that clear. No, the Khulafa al-Rashidin al-Mahdiyin al-Ba'di. He was talking about that from after him. That's clear. Because it says in the narration, عليك بسنتي وسنة الخلفاء الراشدين المهديين من بعدي. There's another narration that says after me. It could be from that. But everyone knows once the Khilafah is established that they know they have to obey and hear the leader to the Khalifa. It could enter into it, but Allahu A'lam of what's correct. Fadal.
Would as far as confirming who he is, would that be like the Kibar Ulama? When he comes out?
How would those affairs, are they considered from the affairs of whether or not the ulama will handle that? As of now, yes. I would not move or hesitate or say anything of affairs as long as the ulama are around, that I would never precede them. They say that these the affairs of what we know that are upright and sound aqidah. If they said it, of course, those would be from the affairs they will handle. Now, other than that, that's something different. If they're not around, Allahu A'lam, we have the narrations to stick with. Tafadal.
What is the exact lineage again? Muhammad. His name is Muhammad.
Muhammad ibn Abdullah.
The Mahdi, right?
Al-Alawi, Al-Fatimi, Al-Hasani.
Who was before Al-Fatimi?
Al-Alawi. Al-Alawi. Al-Alawi, Al-Fatimi, Al-Hasani. Tafadal, Nadir.
Is it authentic that before Yawm al-Qiyamah we'll go back to riding horses?
Ahsan. That is also from the major signs of the day of resurrection, that the people will return to riding on riding beasts. So one event, all these different types of technology will fade away. I don't know how. Allah knows best of how. But those narrations indicates that something will happen. Or it will take away all these different things and devices and new wave technologies, and the people will return back to riding beasts again during the last days on earth, or the last days of this dunya. Tafadal.
We know Isa ibn Maryam, he was raised up to the heaven. How about Mahdi? We can say he got to be raised. He's alive right now, or
Allahu A'lam, if we know that he's a human being. He's not a prophet. We wouldn't say he's a prophet or a messenger. No. Why? Because we have the general ahadith that prophethood and risala, messengership, is the door's shut. The only one who's left of a prophet, a prophet and messenger, is Jesus, the son of Mary. However, when Jesus, the son of Mary, comes back, he will still be under the Sharia of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Which shows the ulama mentioned from that he's the final messenger and prophet, Muhammad bin Abdullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Because even Jesus himself, when he comes back, he's going to be following the Sharia of Muhammad. So the Mahdi, he's not a prophet or messenger. He's not. He's a man from the family, but he is a person that's righteous. Is he living right now? Allahu A'lam of that. But however, what is apparent is the family of the Messenger of Allah is still alive. The family and the lineage of the Messenger of Allah is still around. Allahu A'lam of where it is and who it is. I don't just go on the internet and that he will be born, and there will be a time where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will allow him to assume khilafah. But we do believe that the lineage of the Messenger of Allah is still around to this day. It's still around, it's still present, it's still evident, it's still present. Where it is and who it is, Allahu A'lam. Tafadal.
Is it true that the Mahdi won't know he's a Mahdi until, I think, they pledge allegiance to him, or?
That has to be checked. Does he know he's the Mahdi or not? Does anyone know a narration in that regard that it says that?
I probably read it before I said it, so.
So for those things, Allahu A'lam, I'll have to check. Allahu A'lam. I want to speak about something I don't know. Tafadal.
Regarding the dream of the truthful person in that time, you mentioned that because he was righteous and he has a proper aqidah and manhaj and truthful in the speech, so Allah will give him tawfiq that his heart will be full of light and other things, right? Is it can be understood general? Is it like also may happen to the people in our time? For example, a person,
absolutely,
right? He's righteous, and Allah will give him some insight, tawfiq, to differentiate between batil and haqq?
Absolutely. But there's not a premonition in the dream. But insight could be where you awake.
So it's not specific to that time, right?
No, it's also for these days. Matter of fact, I didn't get a chance to read, but there is a benefit I wanted to give that it can happen these days. We just said it will happen more towards the end of time. It will happen more as the day of resurrection draws even more close. So it's not the fact to negate that it can't happen now. You understand? So it can happen now. No doubt. Absolutely it can happen now. Just like Karamat can happen now. Karamat can happen now, yes, of course. Not the Karamat upon the definitions of Sufis. We're talking about the Karamat upon the definition of Ahl Sunnah wa Salafis. Right. Sheikh al-Islam has a whole chapter on it in Aqidah al-Wasitiyah. Al-Aqidah al-Wasitiyah has a whole chapter and he talks about what is Karamat and at whose hands it can happen. And what are the conditions for it. He mentions all that, rahimahullah. The Karamat of the awliya. And Shaykh al-Islam even mentioned, Aqidah al-Wasitiyah mentioned in there, he said how it could still happen today. And he's talking about his time, of course, which was about, 700, when Shaykh al-Islam died, 728. Shaykh al-Islam died 720 after the Hijrah, right? Which is that's approximately what? How many years, everyone? About maybe 700? 700, 800, around that. So he said about that time it can happen. So it still can happen to this day. We believe that. From Aqidah of the Sunnah, we still believe that Karamat can happen, but with the proper conditions. Similar to premonition, same thing. Tafadhal.
Since in the time of the Dajjal, like one day will be a year long, would a person age by a day or a year?
A person, just an individual? Yeah. Allahu A'lam. Excellent question. Excellent question. Allahu A'lam. Tafadhal.
So the prophets are ma'soom, teaching the deen. So when Isa alayhi salam comes, could he tell us like the correct position of every Messiah?
Allahu A'lam. Are those affairs you talked about in the religion? Well, it says in the hadith that he will be put up in the front. And they say, no, you are the ummah of yourselves, meaning you're under the sharia of your prophet. I'm just here to help. You understand? That's why he'll step back and let the Mahdi lead the salah. Like, I'm here to help you. But I'm also been obliged to follow under the sharia of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Is those in affairs of fiqh or things of those matters? Allahu A'lam. Tafadhal.
What if we consider, and it's a narration of Sahih Muslim, where I mentioned, long narration, Isa, Yajuj, Majuj, that he would, after they, up on Mount Tor making dua, that he would rub the faces of his companions and tell them.
Yep, that's correct.
Would that be considered wahi?
Rubbing their face?
Or their foreheads. He would rub their foreheads and mention. He would tell them their places in paradise.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't know as far as the rubbing of the face of what that indicates, but I know it was a form of relief for them due to all the great difficulties they tolerated. Because those are all the different types of calamities they're going to go through. So Allah knows best whether or not it's going to be something of a miracle or what have you, or is it something that He's just given just to comfort them. But they're telling them their places in those affairs in paradise. Is that from wahi? That will have to be checked. Allahu A'lam. But what is apparent is that Isa ibn Maryam was still a prophet and messenger.
No.
So he can inform of affairs of wahi, even though he's been binded to follow the Sharia of Muhammad, because he's going to follow that. Well, Allah knows best. Anything else? Tafadhal.
See how the Mahdi will be leading the prayer? Does he know all the Quran?
The Mahdi know the whole Quran?
Yeah.
Allahu A'lam. La adri. Allahu A'lam. La adri. Brothers, just to remind everyone, certain questions that there's a qa'idah in our religion, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala clarified to us what we needed to benefit ourselves. Don't go to past affairs of things that Allah kept hidden out of wisdom, of things that if you had knowledge of it, it wouldn't increase you in anything, nor will it decrease you in anything. So for example, a person might say, Jesus the son of Mary, did he die? No. Where is he? He's above the heavens. Where? Which heaven? How is he still eating? How is he still alive? How have all these years where does he sleep at night? Is it a bed that he sleeps on in the heavens? You understand, everyone? What type of food is he receiving in Jannah? Is it directly from Allah? Or you understand, everyone? All we know is that Allah has informed us what? That Jesus is aware. Allah raised him to the heavens. That's it. Don't let shaitan surpass you now going into affairs that Allah kept hidden. Because Allah has infinite wisdom to know that those affairs are not going to increase you in anything, nor decrease you in anything. Even if you did have knowledge of it. It's not going to increase you in as far as what's going to benefit you in your iman and you now having all the duties you have to fulfill on a daily basis. Tend to those affairs. And worry about those matters. So those matters, like we said, don't surpass to the point we start to go into those matters that, like I said, truly is kind of like a little bit of takalluf, of overburdening yourself. There's certain affairs that Allah did not disclose to us of details. Is it clear, everyone? And just leave it there, because that has happened. Jesus the son of Mary, where is he now? Which one? Which heaven? Is it daytime? How long does he sleep? Does he sleep when he's in the heavens? Does he go to sleep at night? Brothers, no, Allahu A'lam. Allah did not inform us of those affairs. Is it clear, everyone? طيب. Anything else? Alhamdulillah. وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.